Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are continuing our free play farming adventures, reaching the absolute limits of what can be made in a single game without powers. We continue from round 301 with a map full of snipers and $222 million. Our setup at this point is quite plain. We have a VTSG and a Zealy for damage, as well as a Degree 1 Ninja Paragon, Balloon Crush, Energizer and Final Harmonic, as they provide the most compact defense possible for these rounds. Then, every other pixel of space is covered with villages, tier 5 farms, and hundreds of snipers. We are stalling every round to the max with the Balloon Crush to make maximum money. I'm not recording every single round, as I do value my PC space, but I'll show you any important rounds and just a few random ones along the way. I have turned on small monkey towers because it just makes the screen so much cleaner to look at. Because we don't want to buy any more towers for defense than we absolutely have to, we will micro the VTSG quite a lot to make sure that it deals the most damage to the correct targets to win the round. This usually involves setting on strong whenever a normal bad is on first, as we really need the damage on the F-bads. Zealy's Hex is currently bugged, as if she is on strong and a Hex is already active on the strong balloon, then a second Hex on strong does not go onto the second strong balloon, but instead it goes to close. This can cause the Hex to go onto normal bads instead of F-bads, or in extreme cases, ZOMGs and BFBs. To counteract this, I generally had to wait for the first Hex to time out before using the next one, which meant I lost out on a few seconds of damage, but it hit the correct target. On round 337, we need more defense, so we sell a section of our snipers on the right side and buy a support temple to buff the VTSG. And then we buy back the snipers. By the time we reach round 350, we have $280 million just sitting there waiting to be used. This is kind of crazy. On round 359, we are again overwhelmed, so we sell a single sniper to buy a Permabrew Alchemist to buff the VTSG and the support temple. After what seems like forever, we finally surpass $300 million just sitting there on round 367. There it is. The very next round was incredibly difficult, and to pass it I had to relent and buy a Super Mines on the right side just for some extra bad damage. On round 380, I sold a few snipers near the front of the track to buy some powerful tier 5s to farm pops for our future paragons. These will provide excellent damage for the space they take up and will let us survive longer. Also, I've got no idea why I had small towers off for just this one round. Don't worry, it goes back to normal. Just 2 rounds later, we need more defense, so we buy the 2 Paragons whose tier 5s already have 16.2 million pops, being the Ace and Ninja. To get them to their highest degree of 91, I had to sell a considerable amount of snipers for the tiers requirement. We then place back the snipers. Again. Some Paragons are much easier to farm pops for than others, and the hardest ones are the Sub and Dart, but we will not be getting the Dart Paragon, as its damage is less than a single God buff Balloon Jitsu Ninja, meaning it's not worth it for the space. On round 399, we again buy more Paragons, this time being the Enchi, Boomerang and Wizard. all to degree 91. You may notice that the placements for these are quite weird, however that is because the centre of the map later on will be completely filled with ninjas and their shinobis, so we can only put these paragons in the outer edges where they will not obstruct much space. We are now at round 400 and our farming is still going strong. While we are quickly running out of spots to place for snipers as we need ever more defense, but we have already surpassed most people watching this video's highest round, and yet we have so much more rounds left to play. At this point, the stall is pretty much dead, because we have so many paragons and powerful new towers attacking, as well as the tier 5s farming more pops. The stall just dies incredibly quickly, and we are struggling to get many abilities out of our snipers. Round 408 was possibly the most difficult round of the entire video. To survive this, I had to not only get my sub-paragon, which was only degree 90 due to me using a bad Lord of the Abyss placement almost 30 rounds ago, but I also had to buy many more strong tier 5 towers to survive the round, along with a call to arms. Then, once the last bad died, but before the round ended, I chinooked a boat into the footprint of the temple as I upgraded it and created my final TSG on the middle water, which had its sacrifices carefully planned out to do the most damage to survive the round, whilst also fulfilling the requirements for a 2-1-2-2 TSG. The very next round, I finalised my water setup of a support TSG, submerged sub-paragon, carrier flagship, no Navark as it kills the stall, and absolute zero ice monkey to hold up 2 shinobi ninjas. I then placed down a load of Bloonjitsu ninjas and shinobis, however I should have placed way more, as this round was super close and I honestly thought I was going to die and have to do it all over again. I also built a support temple at the beginning of the track to buff the range of the true sun god. As I build the rest of the setup over the next few rounds, I'll explain it all to you guys. This is going to be a late game setup using 402 ninjas buffed by 20 shinobis as our main DPS. Because this setup is so strong, we don't need overclocks for them yet, and the space that they will later take up is currently being used for snipers to farm. We have a 2-1-2-2 support TSG on the middle water to deal lots of damage and to buff all towers. Because we are not using Adora, we need a support temple buff to buff the TSG's range so that it becomes global. We then have a carrier flagship to provide extra placements near the centre of the track and an absolute zero to hold up 2 shinobis on the water. Above the water there is a primary expertise village which not only provides a huge juggle jumps range when buffed, but also gives cooldown reduction on the glue storm ability. Then the rest of the space here is filled with Azili and the Sentry champion. We do not get the Navark or the Dart Paragon, as the Dart does not have high enough damage to warrant getting it, and the Navark kills stall with its passive hooks, meaning we cannot stall for a Legend of the Night portal every single round if we use the Navark. 402 Bloonjitsu ninjas, when max buffed, are the ideal candidate for late game spam. Not only do they have low damage and high attack speed, making them buffable, but they have an additional extremely powerful buff in shinobis that make them incredible. Their seeking projectiles also allow for each attack to hit most bads on the map. Even though they are just a tier 4 tower, when max buffed they out DPS all tier 5 towers except the Sentry Champion, Super Mines and Legend of the Night. This setup has also gotten even better with the recent change where the Ninja Paragon now grants the Grand Sabo ability bonus range to all ninjas at a 100% uptime, a huge improvement as it gives all shinobis extra buffing range. As we build the setup, we are stalling the rounds to get more Ultra Boost stacks on these guys, often by not using Hex on the last few F-pads of the round so towers attack the FZOMG insides instead of the important ones off screen, which are being held there by a Bloom Crush. We also build the setup slowly over a large number of rounds, not just to decrease lag on the earlier rounds, but also so that each and every tower can be permabrewed for extra damage and range. The debuffs are crucial to this setup, so we have every single one. The Cripple Moab is in its optimal position in the bottom right, and we have the Super Brittle on the carrier flagship platform and in primary expertise range, so it can hit bads on the first and fourth vertical lanes. There are 2 embrittlements, one below the Super Brittle and one at the very beginning of the track. The Glue Storm is placed in the least impactful spot possible, whilst still within the primary expertise range, even when the primary expertise does not have an overclock in it. And now all that's left to do is farm in the little remaining space we have with more snipers and wait until we have to buy some more defense in the future. But that does us today, so thank you so much for making it all the way here, and I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. See ya.